The only business that is a perfect business is a dead business, a business that closed the doors. So the big question is this: how are passionate tattooers like us, who know there's more to tattooing than just doing good artwork, how do we get ourselves out there and fill our books with clients that want our style and pay us what we're worth so that we can take care of our families and get out of our own ways and get ahead? That is the question, and this channel will give you the answers. What time is it?
Game time!
That's right. I'm sure all business owners, as business owners, we want to get done with the problems. We want to solve, we want to do all the work so that we can relax and have this perfect business. Well, my mentor, he basically said, look, the only business that is a perfect business is a dead business, a business that closed the doors. A business is just a bunch of problems. So you got to want to be a problem solver, because if you're not solving problems, you're not doing the job of a CEO. Instead of focusing on creating the perfect business, just accept that it's broken. Whether you were on my live video or you jumped into one of my courses and you learned about the 5 pillars, he basically says that not all pillars will be at 100%, and they shouldn't be. If they are, you're lying to yourself. It was just a breath of fresh air, you know, a lot of just released pressure off my chest, released weight off of my shoulders, just realizing that, hey, I constantly am trying to get to the end of my to-do list. I'm constantly trying to get to solving all the problems, but they just keep coming. And accepting that that's how it will always be was just really, really refreshing for me. I hope you get some value out of that. Let's move on to the next thing. I learned today that as a shop owner or CEO, that your main position, the most important position that you can play in your company, is not tattooing. It is simplifying problems and calming the situation, calming the environment down. So for the first year of my business, I was a freak. You know, I put a lot of pressure on people. I put a lot of unrealistic expectations on people. And no wonder why I didn't keep some of my artists, okay? I was a dick. I was an asshole. I didn't know how to lead, and I didn't know how to get a job done without raising my voice. Fast forward to 5 years now, this really stood out to me when it comes to your number one position as a shop owner. 2 things. Alleviate the pressure, so calm down the environment, make it welcoming, make it loving, because when people are loving and winning, they're more likely to do more for you and the team. Whereas if they're pressured, they're going to be stressed, and that is going to translate into their work and into the team. And secondly, resolve problems. Resolve problems for your team. So a lot of this is going to connect with a lot of shop owners. At least I hope so. So the next concept that I learned was, you as the CEO of your company, you have to realize you are one of the most important people in your team's life. Whether you want to call them employees or artists, the shop owner is one of the most important people in your team's life. And it's time to treat it like that. Don't just treat them like you work next to them, because they spend a lot of time with you. You are in a position of them being able to make money, deal with their passion, and support their families. So it's a higher level of responsibility that I think is often overlooked. Next concept I learned was, if people, so I know for a lot of shop owners I've been reached out to, and people are just having trouble with artists. And up to this point, I've always been like, you know, artists are rebels. Sometimes this shit just happens. Because I didn't know what was going on. I just left it as it is. And what I found out is, if people are acting up in a business, then what it comes down to is you aren't being a leader. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow. I actually was talking to a dude the other day. He said he's ran through like 20 artists in the last couple years. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. You're not a leader, okay? And if you are not a leader to the people, if people are acting up in your company, You either need to learn how to be a leader, or you need to let them go so that they can find a better environment for themselves. That's just the respectful thing to do, okay? It's not about fuck these guys or milk them for the money or whatever the case some artists think that it is. Have some respect for somebody. If you're not going to be a leader to them and you can't keep them, if you're having problems with them acting up, let them do that somewhere else. Sometimes they might not be a good fit for you. Sometimes they just might be acting up. Whether they leave to go find a better shop or they leave to go find a shop that will let them act up in the way they want to, give them that space. Okay, don't be afraid to tell somebody that, hey, it's just not working out. And I think you would thrive in the right environment, but the right environment is not here. Next, value bomb. The biggest problem as a business owner or a shop owner or a CEO is bad communication from the CEO. This isn't just common in tattooing, it's common in every industry. And the reason why CEOs are bad communicators is because a lot of them don't know where they're going. They don't know where their company's going. Maybe they're just trying to maintain it. They're not trying to grow it. But they don't communicate effectively because they don't know where they're going. They just kind of sort of know. Or maybe they're just maintaining their business. They're not actually growing it. But for a team to follow you and to follow you in a way that's effective, you need to communicate with them. And you will never communicate with them properly unless you know where your business is going and where you want it to go. You have to make a decision and choose where you want it to go. And the cold truth is until you have a solid, clear, crystal clear plan, you will always be a block in your business. You will be the thing that is holding it back. So the next big question is, how do we get clear on making a plan? There's 3 questions that I learned today that you want to ask yourself and your team. So there's 3 questions that you want to figure out the answers to. So the first question is, number 1, where are we going? Okay. Number 2, why are we going there? And number 3, what do we need to do to get there? So think about this. Where are you going? Where do you want your company to go? Where do you want your tattoo shop to go? Secondly, why do you want to go there? Okay? Let your team know why you want to go there. And thirdly, what do you need to do to get there? When you figure out those answers and you share them with your team, you're going to notice a little bit of a shift in their mindset when it comes to your business and working. But one last tip that I learned today was, my mentor said, separate your need for growth from your team's need for stability. What this really meant for me was, don't strive and have unrealistic goals and don't put them on my team, because what I'm doing is I'm teaching them to lose, okay? And what I mean by that is, say for example, we strive and say, hey, we're gonna aim for 1 million this year. Awesome. High-end goal, right? Now, even if last year we only brought in 100,000 and we strive to go for 1 million this year, right? But we don't hit it, and at the same time, even though we didn't hit it, instead of making 100,000 this year, we made 500,000. Our team is going to feel like a failure because they didn't hit the huge ambitious goal. So when he said separate your need for growth from your team's need for stability, that meant go slower sometimes. If you set unrealistic high-end goals like I do, for me, that's what that meant, is to slow down a little bit, because even if the goals aren't higher, if they're constantly hitting goals, they're constantly winning. And psychologically, that builds self-esteem. And psychologically, it helps them realize they're a winner. It motivates them, keeps them motivated, and actually, because they're winning, they want to win more. So it makes them want to strive harder. So setting a smaller goal can sometimes motivate people even more. And the goal is you want to keep them in a state of winning and winning and winning and winning. And when you do that enough, you're going to have high self-esteem. If you believe you're a winner for long enough, you're going to be a winner. And it starts with setting smaller goals for your team sometimes. Okay, next big takeaway was the statistic that most CEOs and shop owners let their team down every single day. It can be as simple as showing up late to a meeting. You show up 5 minutes late as the owner, as the leader. What are you influencing your team to do? Okay, and how can they trust you if you're showing up late? If you want them to show up early, you got to do it first. You got to lead by example, man. So, that is it for day 3. I'm going to go grab some dinner. That's all I got for you guys today. Have a great one. We'll see you soon.